This is the Automotive Blockchain channel, and welcome everyone. To you subs out there, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I believe at the recording of this video, I am sitting at about 299 subscriptions, so thank you very much for that. A love dub from my heart to yours. I appreciate it very much. And for those of you who are new to the channel, hey, come on in. We have more than 4 doors, and buckle up because we're about to get started. In this video, we are going to be discussing Part 2 of AI principles as it pertains to the automotive industry. And today we are going to be going over how Daimler uses artificial intelligence. In this article, taken directly from the Daimler.com sustainability site, here goes, reads 2 letters and 4 principles, how Daimler uses artificial intelligence. Now, as we dive into this article, I'm going to go through the 4 principles, and then I'm going to jump over to a couple of different other articles that Daimler has put out and go into some of the use cases. So let's go ahead and get into the 4 principles. We have down here Renata Jungo-Brunger. She is the member of, and I apologize for jacking up your name, a member of the Board of Management of Daimler AG, Integrity of Legal Affairs. Renata is the one that is responsible for putting the content of this article together. So hats off to you, Renata. So getting right into the AI. And they want to make something clear. The basic requirement for widespread acceptance of artificial intelligence is trust. Please, everyone, remember that. Let's put the brakes on. Remember that it's about trust. We humans have to accept the fact that, hey, there's going to be an aspect of artificial intelligence that will help us. Not everything's going to be like 2000 Space Odyssey. So anyway, in the past, intelligent systems were repeatedly the target of criticism. Such as examples would be including a chatbot taught to use sexist slogans in a piece of image recognition software that was unable to tell the difference between dark-skinned humans and gorillas. Now, I know that alone right there should kind of be a trigger of saying, yeah, we kind of need to repair this. All right. These cases show that the use of artificial intelligence requires some clear guidelines. For that reason, Daimler, as the first of any automobile manufacturer, has established a set of principles according to which we develop and deploy AI. Daimler's principles intend to strengthen confidence in our company, products, and services, while at the same time providing employees with guidance for dealing with AI. So principle number 1 of 4, responsible use. They ask a couple of questions, and some of the questions with respects to responsible use are as follows. Will they make our products, services, and processes faster and more efficient? Question number 2, what advantage does using the technology have for different target groups? And is our data set representative, and is the quality high enough to enhance fairness and inclusion? We don't allow machines to answer these questions. Humans remain in the driver's seat. I see what you did there, Renata, driver's seat. Good joke. All right. Second principle is explainability. Explainability. Here's a little quote from Renata. We are committed to a high level of transparency, thereby promoting trust in artificial intelligence. To that end, we support explainable artificial intelligence. With principle number 2, they're focusing on not just coming up with answers, but actually how the answer was solved. And as it reads right here, how you arrive at the answer is just as important as actually solving the problem. When a piece of software, for instance, analyzes huge quantities of data in order to make predictions about future market developments, it should be obvious what parameters it considers while performing the analysis. So you want to kind of think about this from the perspective of if the artificial intelligence that's going to be inside your vehicle is coming up with problems such as, hey, there's a deer in the way. It's not just a matter of get out of the way of the deer by swerving 90 degrees to the left or to the right, or slamming on the brakes so hard that your face literally gets cut off by the seatbelt, or your chest does. It's about analyzing all the sensors to see if are there vehicles over to the left or to the right, rolling down the window slightly to put a gap in the air so that all sorts of things get taken into place and how the problem is solved. So that kind of gives you an idea about explainability and how they are going to go about utilizing principle number 2. On to principle number 3. Principle number 3 discusses protection of privacy. Now, clearly, when it comes to artificial intelligence, I know many of you out there are like, hey, is my data going to be secure? Is my information going to be proliferated out there to the worldwide of everyone who pays the right dollar amount for it? Now, Renata goes on to say, We respect privacy. We consider privacy protection from the design phase of artificial intelligence systems onwards. We support privacy-enhancing technologies. The digital services have now become a permanent part of our daily lives. That would not work without it supplying a certain amount of data. That makes it even more important to ensure that privacy of our customers and employees, keep in mind it's also employees, remains protected. And I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but they have this infotainment system now that came out, I think, like a year and a half ago, called MBUX Multimedia System. And that stands for Mercedes-Benz User Experience. So I'll talk a little bit more about that when I get into some of the use cases. The fourth principle is safety and reliability. Renata goes on to say, with a quote, "We developed and test our AI technologies consciously and according to state-of-the-art science and technology. We take adequate measures to develop safe and reliable AI." Now, some of you may be thinking, yeah, no duh, I hope you would do that. Well, you have to consider this with the fourth principle is autonomous vehicles. In autonomous vehicles, reliable AI is even safety relevant. Another reason for us, and this is Renata talking about, to work with exacting precision and a critical mindset when developing new technologies. You want your artificially intelligent vehicle to be as precise as possible. You don't want it to stutter, you don't want it to hiccup, you don't want it to pause if it doesn't need to pause, etc. You want it to be that way and take care of you and any of your precious cargo. So safety and reliability, as far as Daimler is concerned, for principle number 4, are quintessential parts of the brand when it comes down to that. Therefore, they will apply a high standard of quality AI to all of their applications. All right. So now let's go ahead, keeping in mind of these 4 principles. And what are they again? Just for a quick recap, they are 1, responsible use; 2, explainability; 3, protection of privacy; and 4, safety and reliability. As we move over into the use cases. So here is some of the use cases, and I'm going to kind of flip back and forth between a couple of pages. This one here is the artificial intelligence, a tool for Daimler, and this comes from the artificial intelligence research team. Okay. And the focus is going to be on this guy right here, and he is Stephen Peters. And I won't get into any bio for Stephen Peters right now, but let's get down to example of use cases. So they're asking, can you give us an example? Sure. If our customers repeatedly use functions in a certain way, we can study these patterns to develop a system. Now, I want everybody to put on the brakes real quick, okay? Think about this. You're in your car. You're repeatedly doing certain things a certain way. The car is going to start to learn, aka machine learning, learn how and why you're doing that, and then be able to offer suggestions. And this is exactly what they say. Going on, the next time the function is required, the system can predict its use in advance and adjust itself automatically. A simple theoretical example of this would be, and I'm here to tell you, is not that theoretical. It's let's just say it's real play, all right? It's real life utility. A simple theoretical example of this would be to employ the system for heated seats. Another interesting research task is to assess the emotions of the vehicle occupants. Yes, I'm saying that correctly. Emotions of the vehicle occupants. Now, for any of you that have kids, and your kids are in the back seat, kicking the seat, throwing nuggets everywhere and fries and complaining and all that kind of stuff, I'm wondering how the AI is going to assess that one. Maybe it'll automatically recognize your dilated pupils and the frown upon your face and immediately put on the kid's favorite cartoon in the back rear display panel so that the kid can watch and be quiet. I don't know. Maybe it'll be something like that. All right. Hey, Steve Peters, go ahead and work on that, buddy. Assessing the emotions of vehicle occupants. It would enable us to adjust the steadily growing range of entertainment and relaxation programs to car occupants' preferences. So that's exactly what it's going to do. I don't know why I'm laughing. It just seems funny to me. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Certainly, anticipating all the driver's wishes isn't really our main goal. After all, things can quickly become creepy if the car responds too much to each occupant's needs. Exactly. So you have the driver, the passenger, the kids in the back seat. Whose emotions are responding to whom? Maybe the car likes 13-year-old Billy more than it likes the driver, and it wants to go to Chick-fil-A or someplace. Maybe it does. I don't know. But just kind of keep these things in mind that AI is going to be learning the experiences of its occupants. So that is some of the use cases there. Let's move on. In addition to these examples, I've mentioned, and this is Steve Peters writing, we're also using AI to improve knowledge transfer within Daimler. Remember, they're not just talking about the customers, they're also talking about their employees. So with respect to the employees, for example, when a new engineer joins the company, the system can help them find their way around because it already knows all the existing vehicles' design at Daimler. It is a vault of information. In this way, we can train algorithms to permanently secure the wealth of experience that has been built up at the company over decades. Finding a solution to the problem might be simply requiring the system to suggest to that new engineer contact someone with experience within the company, and they can direct them to that particular person. So that is a great way of utilizing the AI within the company itself. And think about this. There are systems right now, such as Alexa and other things, that are helping you in your house in somewhat the same way, even on your mobile phone, such as Siri, when you ask Siri to do certain things. And with that being said, let's move on to MBUX. That's the Mercedes-Benz User Experience. In this article, who's thinking, who's driving? It starts to talk about the MBUX system, and here is another use case that's going to be right down in your face for the current driver. This article was actually published on August 6th of 2020, but I wanted to go down to some of the highlight things. Where Mercedes customers are already encountering AI. And remember, I just said the Mercedes-Benz User Experience. MBUX has become a reality in more and more vehicles from Mercedes-Benz. If a customer wants it, keep in mind, I'm going to say that again, if the customer wants it. The customer themselves decide which services they would like to use and which data they would like to disclose. Conversely, this also means the customers can choose to deactivate these systems. All right, so the user experience is interactive and can be turned on or turned off. That is very important when it comes to, as we said with one of the principles, privacy and public and safety and the overall user experience. So let's scroll down a little bit. For example, on the basis of the driver's behavior patterns, remember we just talked about the emotions. On the basis of the driver's behavior patterns, it can anticipate the next thing he or she might ask for. For example, if the driver often talks on the phone with a certain person on the way home on Tuesdays, that person's number will be suggested on the display on Tuesdays. So if you're driving home every single day and you're talking to your Aunt Betty, it magically is going to call Aunt Betty. Conversely, I guess if your mother-in-law, and yes, I'm picking on mother-in-laws, if your mother-in-law calls you every Tuesday while you're commuting home, it may, by chance, say, would you like to call mother-in-law? That's something else it might do. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Going on, and a driver who regularly listens to Rammstein on the way to a fitness studio will receive a selection of the band's songs as recommendation. So that's kind of cool that it's able to incorporate that. But plans also call for the system to be able to understand and answer complex questions in the near future. They might be questions about sports, the stock market, or just general knowledge. So you can think about it as a Siri or an Alexa or something like that. Only the actual software will be native to Mercedes-Benz and in a Mercedes-Benz Daimler voice. Moving on, but that is not all. A camera captures the hand and arm movements of the driver and the front seat passenger. All right, passengers, it is just one of those days. All right, so if you're driving around and you just happen to be using one of those unfavored hand marks because another driver's cut you off, I'm wondering what the AI is going to do with that sort of hand gesture. I'm just wondering. If you're driving aggressively, I'm wondering what's going to happen. But this is what it says. If a hand approaches the touchscreen or the touchpad on the console, the image on the display changes and individual elements are highlighted. The system can distinguish between the driver's hand and the passenger's hand. So it also knows whose seat the massage function has to be adjusted, for example. Massage seats are a very big deal. If you've ever been in a car with massage seats, it's wonderful. So I like this because the artificial intelligence is going to be suited for the passengers as well as the driver. And I would imagine in some of the vehicles, even the children in the back seat, the artificial intelligence will be intelligent enough to learn what the children want, etc. So that's going to be some cool stuff in my opinion. Let me know what you think of the video. That wraps up the 4 principles for Daimler, as well as just touching on some of the use cases. And hey, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.